Be sure to check out the gift card giveaway. Giveaway ends October 31st. Good luck. Hello, it's Peggy from Peggy's Tropical Garden. Thanks for stopping by. Now that the foundation of my garden has been made over, it's time to put the tropical back into my tropical garden. Things are looking a little thin and colorless. I'll be using plants from my recent plant hauls, and I've already planted a few. Here are the remaining plants I'll be using. You'll recognize them if you've been following me and watching my plant hauls. I'm going to show you how with just a few plants, I will totally change the look and feel of my side garden. I'll start on this side and work my way around. This area could definitely use some pop. So I want to do something around this rock. I started by placing a drip irrigation head. So I'm taking a look at the plants that are already here to kind of get some idea of what colors I want to use over here and what type of plants I want to plant. I already planted the Cordyline that I picked up at Walmart. So here I want to plant something that will help bring out the pinks in the Cordyline. I have the perfect bromeliad to bring out those pinks. Let's see how the cotton candy bromeliads look. Maybe a voodoo doll bromeliad in the middle. Prior to planting, I like to place my plants to see how they're going to look so I can make any changes if necessary. Although I like the way this looks, it's not exactly what I'm going for. Let's see if I like the candy stripe better. There we go. That one's a winner. Things are looking brighter already. Now, continuing over to the right, you can see some definite gaps in the trees where you can see back to the beehives. Although these native trees will fill in, we need something in the meantime. Let's see how these elephant ears or Alacasia look right here. I like the way that looks, and it'll look even better as it fills in. I have a second Alacasia, so I think I'll put that over here for balance. I like that. That'll work. Continuing on to the waterfall. I've already planted one bromeliad on the upper left. You'll also see some on the lower right that have been there for about a year and a half and are growing on the rocks. The waterfall is the focal point of this side garden, so I really want to add some interest in this area. Nothing grabs your attention like some bright red. Having red bromeliads at the top on both sides adds balance and brings your eye upward. Let's see how this gold fever bromeliad looks at the bottom. Looking at this, I feel the color choice works, but the placement of the bromeliad does not. This placement kind of takes your eye in a square and separates the waterfall from the rest of the garden. Watch what a difference just moving the bromeliad over a little bit makes. With the plant placed here, the area looks more open and less boxed off. Now moving on to this area, which is screaming for some color and attention. The problem here is everything is either green or brown. You probably don't even notice the beautiful bromeliad that's planted here because it just blends in with everything else. So we're going to pull this cryptanthus up and add a pop of color. I want to put something here that's going to add some serious contrast. And bam, there you go. That's what I call contrast. Let's see how these Big Mac bromeliads look here with this, since they have the same color purple in the tips. Let's see how this is going to look. I don't dislike it, but I don't love it. Sometimes less is more, and I think that's the case here. There we go. That's the look I'm going for. Now that we know where everything is going to go, it's time to start planting. All of the bromeliads I'm using here are epiphytic, so that means that they do not need to be in dirt in order to grow. Although the plants have roots, the roots are only used to anchor the plant. Okay, out with the cryptanthus. Since there's already a hole here, I'm going to clean out the area, move the rocks around, and I will put this bromeliad in the ground. If there was not a hole, I would not have dug one to put the plant in. Here I'm removing some of the soil that this bromeliad was planted in because it seems to hold water. Now I'm just going to place it in the hole. I'm going to backfill with 1 scoop of succulent and cactus mix, and the rest I'm going to use rocks. Once the plant is firmly in place, she's ready to go. Now I'm moving back to the waterfall. And basically all that needs to happen here is this bromeliad needs to be removed from its pot and placed in the crevice in the rock. However, since it has been growing in soil, I will remove it from the pot, put in a scoop of cactus and succulent soil, and I do that to keep the roots from drying out and to encourage them to grow and attach to the rocks. It doesn't get much easier than that. These mini bromeliads below the plant that we just planted, as you can see, they are growing on the rocks. They have never been planted in any soil at all, and they've been here for about 1.5 years, doing just fine. Moving on to the other side of the waterfall, we're going to start with the Alacasia over here. So that we don't have to risk stepping on the bromeliad that needs to be planted below it in the rocks. I'm going to cut through this section since nothing special needs to be done, just digging a hole, planting the plant. And the only thing I took into consideration was making sure that I had an irrigation head nearby so that it can be watered. And there she goes. Now for the gold fever bromeliad by the waterfall. I removed it from the pot, removed some of the soil. I'm sticking it in the rocks. One more time, I'm going to give it 1 scoop of succulent soil mix, and then that's it. I'm going to skip past the planting of the next elephant ear, you know the drill there, and go on to the next bromeliads because I'm going to do something a little different with them. Okay, remember these bromeliads, the cotton candy and the candy stripe that we're going to plant around this boulder? Well, they're actually going to be planted on top of landscape weed barrier. There is no pre-existing hole, and so I'm not going to cut the landscape barrier in digging. All I need to do is move away the rocks, and as you can see, there is some soil on top of the landscape barrier. So we'll use that to hopefully keep the roots moist enough that they will grow and attach to the rocks. This is not soil that we actually placed on the landscape barrier. This is soil that just happens to get there from day to day, whatever. I've removed the bromeliad from the pot. I've removed some dirt from the roots, and now I'm just sitting it here on top of the landscape barrier, and I am putting rocks on the roots, and that's to anchor the plant down. There is a sprinkler head here, so they will get watered regularly, but it won't matter. It won't be enough to rot the plant because there's nothing that's going to be holding water other than in the top of the plant where water belongs. Because I am in South Florida and we don't get a freeze or any really cold temperatures, I do like to plant most of my bromeliads at somewhat of an angle, and that makes it so that as water goes in, some goes out, it runs out, and it's not just sitting there stagnant for long periods of time, because mosquitoes are an issue here. And here I'm just doing the same thing with the next bromeliad. Take it out of the pot, set it on top of the landscaping barrier, put rocks around it to support it, and stand it up. I'm going to do the same thing with the last one. And with that, the last plant is in its new place. Now let's take a look at some before and after footage to see if we really did add some tropical to our tropical garden. Although I really like the way the garden makeover turned out on this side garden, it just didn't have that colorful pop that I think of when I think of a tropical garden. So with just a few plants, I would think I was able to achieve that tropical look. I'm much happier with all the color that's now provided by the bromeliads and some more contrast with the elephant ears. I'm really pleased. So all the plants have matured. I'm sure this side garden will be everything I want. Thanks for planting with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It's always a pleasure to have you. And make sure you take time out to do something fabulous in your garden. Bye-bye.